And now Syria says the U.S.-led coalition has used internationally banned weapons in a new air attack on the war-ravaged nation. U.S.-led warplanes dropped cluster bombs on residential neighborhoods in the eastern countryside of Dayr city. The attack killed a number of civilians and left some others injured. Bombing also caused heavy material damage. The U.S. claims attacks target Daesh terror group positions in Syria, but air raids have killed large numbers of civilians. U.S. has intervened in the Syria conflict without a UN mandate or permission from the Syrian government. And joining us out of Damascus is our own Press TV's Muhammad Ali. Hello, Muhammad. Thanks for joining us for this update. Muhammad, U.S.-led coalition airstrikes in the news almost every day recently. Why?
Exactly. The result is always the killing of civilians in large numbers. Now, what the U.S.-led coalition claims is that it is fighting Daesh, but when we look at the results on the ground, it doesn't seem so. Especially if you look at also the Syrian government officials' comments, especially when before the Russian Air Force started actually operating in Syria at the request of the Syrian government, when there was only the U.S.-led coalition operating under the pretext of fighting Daesh. The Syrian government officials at that time always said that the U.S.-led coalition is not actually striking Daesh at that time, and the capabilities of Daesh is growing, not being undermined. This is also something that the Syrian government continues to say, the officials, that the U.S. coalition is actually attacking everything in Syria and destroying everything except for Daesh. One of the main goals of the U.S. coalition, if we look at the statements of the Syrian government officials, we can understand that it seems like as if the U.S. coalition is aiming at destroying Syria's infrastructure and the country in general, because always the people's houses are targeted, the infrastructure establishments in Syria, public establishments, and also private, also property over here. Their latest attacks, of course, in the past hours also left civilians killed in both towns of al-Zawr and Hajin, both about 110 kilometers to the southeast of Dayr al-Zawr. Locals over there continue to say that it is their houses that are being targeted, not Daesh on the ground. And also such attacks and strikes are causing the displacement of people. People are leaving, running away from their houses in nearby towns and villages, fearing of being killed by similar airstrikes, especially that in the past month, the U.S.-led coalition stepped up its attacks over there on that part of Syria, particularly on the eastern bank of the Euphrates River.
And before we let you go, a lot of our viewers might not know these internationally banned weapons. We've heard of them being used in Yemen, also in Syria by the U.S.-led coalition over there, by the Saudi-led coalition in Yemen. What are cluster bombs for our viewers that are not familiar, Mohammed?
Yes, such bombs, in addition, not just cluster bombs, but also the internationally banned white phosphorus munitions, which were always used by the U.S.-led coalition in just about 10 days, were also used in the same town in Hajin. Such weapons cause the killing of people in a particular area in large numbers, and those are internationally banned. The people over there in Hajin, in al-Zawr, and in those nearby towns and villages have seen such weapons being actually dropped on their towns and villages over there. And they are the ones, those locals are the ones who are reporting actually and trying to tell the world that they are being killed by the U.S.-led coalition with such internationally banned weapons.
Thanks for joining us for that update out of Damascus, Mohammed. Our own Press TV's Muhammad Ali, everyone.